This is the Hall Institute of Public Policy's forum. My name is Michael Riccards, and today is a guest that is known to all of us, who's a member of our Board of Trustees, Bob Haney, who is also, of course, a well-known lawyer at Covington and Burling. Bob, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mike. It's great to be here.
And in addition, you are a newly appointed member of the New Jersey Commission on Higher Education.
Yep. Actually, it's the State Board of Higher Education.
Board of Higher Education.
That's right. And that's right. I've been on it now for about 3 months, and it's a very exciting opportunity to get involved in these important issues.
What does the State Board exactly do? Is it just a review board? Does it set policy?
The State Board of Education sets education policy for the state of New Jersey. On the organization chart, it actually is above the Commissioner of Education, who's a member of the Governor's Cabinet. Now, it's actually a little bit more complicated than that because in certain areas, such as funding, the State Board does not have a direct role. But when it comes to education policy, and it comes to education standards and testing, it's the State Board that is actually the rule-making body in the state. Now, as you know, in New Jersey, we have local rule for education. Each local Board of Education sets its own curriculum, but the State Board of Education sets the curriculum standards statewide, and it actually puts into effect rules that the local boards of education have to follow and the local schools have to follow on a variety of items, including curriculum.
Now, there are statewide tests as well in terms of curriculum. And New Jersey's had some very powerful commissioners going back to Tom Kane and Saul Cooperman, to the extent that they actually at one time, and haven't done in a while, I guess, put some school districts in receivership, and some are still in receivership.
Well, sure. There's Newark and Jersey City, and to some extent Jersey City, although that has control, local control. There's still supervision, and then Patterson, of course, and those districts have been under some degree of state control for a long period of time.
Has that been successful, state control instead of local control?
Well, there's been an enormous amount of progress, and it's been successful. Certainly, Jersey City has emerged from full state control, and there's been progress. But success in education is always a relative term. You're always looking for higher standards and to push things further, and so it's still a work in process.
There are a series of court cases that have become landmark, called the Abbott cases. There's not just one, as most people think, but there's actually a whole host of them over the years, which deal with the question of kind of a attempt to really take urban schools and move them up in terms of funding to where suburban schools are. Has that been a successful strategy, the Abbott school strategy?
Yeah. Well, of course, the State Board isn't directly involved in the funding of schools. It's been successful in the sense that it has equalized funding, but one of the things that we're trying to do now is make the opportunity for really quality education, the highest quality education, available to all districts. One of the things that happens sometimes is that the local school boards have different standards that they put into effect, and some schools come out with more kids being prepared for college and being prepared to go on to higher education, which is crucial in today's economy. And one of the issues that's currently in front of the State Board of Education is whether to require higher standards for high school graduation statewide to include things like, for example, Algebra 2, that would be more of a college preparatory type program that would be imposed statewide, obviously possibly with exceptions for special education and certain things like that. And so that's one of the issues that we're struggling with now.
The question of really raising higher standards is a question that's before the board. What areas are they focusing on?
Right. Well, it's mostly math math, English, and sciences. The new regulations that are under consideration, they haven't yet even been proposed to the board, basically would raise the standards for high school graduation and require students to complete courses in geometry, Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, as well as chemistry and biology. For a long time there's been a requirement for 3 years of math, but there haven't been specific curriculum standards. And this is part of an effort nationwide to try and raise the standards for education in the United States. One of the things that's been happening over the last 10 or 15 years is that we in the United States have gone from being #1 in the world in terms of math and science education to, in various areas, 10th, 15th, or even 20th in the world. And it's an incredibly competitive world out there. And as you know, with the internet and with the internationalization of labor and jobs, our kids in New Jersey are competing with kids in Korea and China and all over the world for the best jobs. And so it's clear that going forward we're going to have to raise our standards to meet the international pressure and the international competition. Now there's of course a big question as to precisely how we do it, when we do it, and what the policies we implement are to ensure that our kids get to that level.
If in fact you tell people that you need 3 years of mathematics to graduate in New Jersey, are the standards going to actually tell you what should be in those 3 years? That if I'm taking geometry, I should be at what level of geometry?
Yeah, well, there's a program that's set out. Now, the regulations don't set out a curriculum. That's up to the local school boards, and these are proposed regulations. They haven't even been voted on at the first level by the State Board of Education. But what's under consideration would not include a specific curriculum, but would include certain things that kids have to learn that are standard in a high school geometry course, and the same would be true for Algebra 1 and Algebra 2.
Good. We'll come right back and talk about the question of standards and competencies with Robert Haney. Thank you.